You ever have one of those dark seasons in your life where it just feels like everything is kind of just falling apart? I came across a journal entry that I wrote when I was going through a really, really dark period. I mean, a really dark period. Everything was blowing up. Relationships, career, finances, like everything was just blowing up. And so I took to my journal. Let's take a look at this. I think the most dangerous conversation we can have at any given day, in any given moment, is the one with ourselves in our own head where we give into feelings of low self-worth, victimization, regret, resistance, and lack. And the most empowering conversation, this is cool, the most empowering conversation on any given day is the one that you have with yourself in your own head, where you declare and affirm your worthiness. And you realize that this creation is working with you and for you and in concert with your heart's desires. You are worthy. I wrote this to myself. You are worthy of living out a remarkable story, a story of potential, a story of purpose and prosperity. I absolutely believe this to be true. You know, it's our humanness that deceives us into thinking that we're no good and that we're not in a good place. That feeling that we carry around, that quiet ache that something's off. Of course, with me, it wasn't a quiet ache. It was actually quite evident. Something is not quite right. And that is not truth speaking. It's fear and doubt doing what they do best. Because you see, your mind is on this never-ending journey to protect you. And fear and doubt are its tools. It's your mind's way of saying you may not want to do this because it's risky, or you may not want to do this because there's embarrassment or shame or fear of failure. It's going to make you uncomfortable and maybe even bring out an unwanted or unintended consequence. And when that happens, we take our eyes off God and we take our feelings away from faith, and we turn our focus back on ourselves and our own plan, our plan to try to avoid the pain. Fear and doubt love this. Fear and doubt love to distract you, to focus on the problem that's right in front of you at that particular moment. They love to make it feel like everything depends on you coming up with a plan. You compromising, you compensating, you negotiating and navigating the landscape. But God has you in this place, in this dark season for a reason, for a purpose, maybe even for a person. It may not be clear yet. In fact, it rarely is when you're standing in the middle of all of this angst. But God is not careless. God is not hapless. God is seriously the most intentional existence in our universe. And when we start thinking only about ourselves and we start focusing on our own suffering, we miss the very reason God placed us in a situation. We miss the very reason He put us there. So instead of focusing on the situation, instead of focusing on the angst, the feeling, focus on praying. Praying doesn't magically fix things overnight. I don't know, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But because prayer repositions your heart, your soul, and your mind, we get to ask God to reveal the plan. Or better yet, ask Him to give you the discernment to recognize when it happens. Because sometimes His plan doesn't show up like a neon sign or a brick to the head. Sometimes it's a whisper. Sometimes it's a door that's quietly and slowly opening. Sometimes it's just this feeling of peace that comes over us, and you just can't explain it. Several years ago, my middle daughter was training with a soccer coach who was giving her feedback on the sidelines, and he was constantly saying to her, eyes up, eyes up, eyes up. And he said to her on the sidelines, if you're focused on the ball, then you can't see what's unfolding in front of you and around you. So you have to trust that the ball is going to be where your feet plan it to be so that you can respond appropriately. So, eyes up. Get your focus off of what's small in front of you and get your focus up and on what's happening around you. So maybe that's your mantra. Maybe that's what we've got to start saying to ourselves. Eyes up. When we're feeling down, eyes up. When we're starting to overthink things, eyes up. When doubt gets louder than the truth, eyes up. That voice in your head, it does not have to speak a language of doubt. It just as easily speaks a language of perseverance and discipline and commitment. It speaks patience. It speaks belief in yourself. It speaks to honor the desires of your heart. Not because you're supposed to be strong on your own. That would actually be the lack of faith. But because God's strength shows up right where you are. I know this time in your life isn't easy. It's not supposed to be. Growth isn't easy. But this moment that you're in, it's not wasted. It's not meaningless. God is using it. There's a reason you're there, even if you can't see it yet. So when it gets heavy, when life gets heavy, when your mind gets heavy, when your heart and your soul get heavy, and they will, don't look down, eyes up. Don't spiral inward, eyes up. Don't let fear write your story, eyes up, eyes on God. Wow. Well, I hope you enjoyed hearing this as much as I enjoyed reading it again. Again, it has to be 3-4 years old. And so if you're in a dark moment, feel free to pin up this video and listen to it again, or maybe send it to somebody who is going through a dark season and you believe they would benefit from it. My name is Arnie. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing.